Hi guys, welcome back. We're back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can predict and anticipate market turning points as you count your levels. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It is free after all. All right, guys. So as we all know, every chart, in this case, we're looking at the weekly time frame, has a high or low. All right. So in this case, since we're looking at the weekly time frame, we're basically focusing on the high of the year or the low of the year. All right, so I keep it very simple. As we know, we trade BTMM, and we trade by counting our levels. All right, so as you can see right here, I don't really want to go too far as this is the weekly, but just to show that level counts do work, we can see that we've got a peak formation, right? If we take it from this area, we can see we've got one level of drop, a pullback, right? Another level, giving us the second level of drop, and the last level of drop, right? So from that peak formation, we can identify another push to the upside into a consolidation, second push of rise, giving us level 2 into a consolidation that took a while, right? As you can see, this took a while, right? And then we had the last level of push giving us level 3, right? So to keep it very simple, I use the Fib tool. Right, that's the Fibonacci tool. And for those people who don't have the settings that I use, I'm going to be showing you the settings. Very simple, because I only focus on the 50% level. Right, I only focus on the 0.5 level. All right. Since that's out of the way, you will know the Fib settings that I use. So what I do is, when I open up the weekly time frame, I keep it very simple. I like going to the high, or rather marking the high and the low, right? And what I'm looking for is a trade right about the 50% area. Why? This is the area where peak resets usually occur, right? So just by looking at this from the weekly time frame, there's one thing that we can identify. Let me just clear this up so that it doesn't, right? If we zoom in here, what we can see is from the weekly time frame, right, we can identify a level of push from that peak formation, giving us level 1. We can also identify another push, giving us level 2, and we identify the last push, right, giving us level 3 into that 200 EMA, right? So the reason why I mark this up with the Fibonacci is because I am always looking to enter or join in the market as it's already confirmed, right? The direction is confirmed with the level count. So from the high to the low, I expect to see a peak reset around the 50%. When I say around the 50%, it could be slightly below, slightly above, right? Or right at the 50. So it is not always 100%, but obviously we look at other factors of confluence. All right, so as you can see, that is exactly what happened right there, right? We had 3 levels, and then we had a pullback, giving us another area, or rather a point of reversal. So if we go to the daily time frame, our point of reversal is right here, and we can identify an M formation, which is a peak formation. From that M formation, we can identify one level of drop, another level of drop, right? And then we identify the last level of drop below that 800 EMA, which is something that we can anticipate, right, as the market approaches the 800 EMA, right? Either the dealer will trap just above the 800 or give us a stop hunt below that 800 EMA. So in this case, we had 3 levels of drop. So if we go back to the weekly time frame, what we can see is, if we draw our fib from this reversal point to the low, right, we can see that the market went slightly above the 50, giving us another peak reset, right? So that was another peak reset that we were given right here, right? So I'm gonna clear up this chart so that you can understand this and see it clearly without being confused, right? So another factor of confluence that we had right here, right, was we had the 50-200 crossover, right? So at that same area, we can also identify a drop-based drop area as you can see, which is our supply zone, right? So at that 50 zone, that is when we're given a peak reset, which is another M formation and a move to the downside. And when we look at these moves to the downside, we can identify one level of drop into a consolidation and a pullback, another level, right? Slight pullback, and then we can identify the last level of drop, giving us 3 pushes, 1, 2, 3, and then we had a peak formation low, which was the reversal. I don't want you guys to focus on the current running trade right now, but focus on what I'm explaining. I will get to the running trade later on. Right, so from this peak reset to the low, if we take our fib from the high, right, to the low, we can see that the peak reset that we were given was slightly above the 50 EMA, but also we had the 800 EMA in sight. Remember, the 800 EMA is basically a magnet of price. So when the 800 EMA is in sight at your point of interest, do keep an eye on it, because we usually have a lot of spikes around at these areas, or traps below or above this area. But what I liked about this was we had a 50 and 13 crossover, which confirms the lock of this peak reset. So this was actually our first pullback to the 50 EMA. Right, so we didn't really have clear moves a couple of weeks. As you can see, price was just above this area, and we clearly had this liquidity sweep just above this supply zone at our area. Remember, this is slightly above the 50%. So obviously, market makers do know that traders have pending orders around this area, and some traders were looking at this supply zone as a factor of confluence. But remember what I always say, multiple hits to a supply zone, right? Multiple hits. When a zone is hit multiple times, it is most likely to be broken, right? So that is exactly what happened right here, right? There was definitely a build up of orders of traders selling, and obviously their stop loss was above this area. This region right here was a region of stop losses, and as you can see, this came through as a trap when this week began. Remember, this is the H4 time frame, right? The dealer gave us a false move week beginning, trapping these traders and hitting all these stop losses in this area and pulling back. So that was our high of the week for last week, right? So we had that, and we then had this area which broke structure, and as you can see, price made a pullback just slightly above that area, right? And we continued going down as we had NFP last Friday, right? So now that we know, because we already see the 5200 crossover, and this is the first pullback, right? This was the pullback to the 200 EMA, which is our region for safety trades, or rather peak resets. We go to the H1 time frame. Now, the reason why I took this trade, I'm going to explain this, and this trade that I've currently entered right now, I have also sent to our VIP, as you can see. All right, so I'm going to be explaining the reason why I took that, right? Our last trade was AUD USD, which was a very good trade. As you can see, I don't really check a lot of trades, right? A lot of traders get caught up in, trading a lot of times, right? So I am okay with taking a few quality trades every week or every day. Right, so just by looking at what we have currently, I looked at this today as the market opened. As you can see, we had an ID 50, right? So this was an intraday 50 bounce, right? This was from this peak formation that we had above the 800 EMA, right? So this was actually our first pullback to the 50 EMA. Right, so what we can see was we went all the way down, broke this structure, and we had a pullback. So in this case, I used the fib, right, from this high to the current low that I was looking at that current time, right? And another factor of confluence that we had at this area was we had a supply zone, which was very fresh, a supply zone right there, and we also had the 50 EMA in sight. All right, so now that we have this first leg and the second leg, right, that is the reason why we have now entered this trade with our stop loss being only 14 pips. All right, so if you are watching this at this current time, do be sure to check this out and see how this turned out. But also join our free Telegram channel for updates, for such updates, as I will be making more videos with live trades that I execute, explaining them so you guys can understand the reasons why I'm taking this trade. So we are risking 14 pips here, and we are targeting these lows, and we are looking to take our profit at about 76 pips, right? So we'll see how this one goes, right? Remember, our motto is one trade at a time. I don't really get people who overtrade, over risk, when there will always be another trading opportunity on the table for you. This is the reason why most people blow accounts and get frustrated when trading. That is because they look at one setup, even though it is an A+ setup, that does not mean that you should go all in. That does not mean that you should put your whole account or expose your whole account to risk, because there will always be another trade. There is no 100% strategy in this whole wide world, right? If there was, we would all be rich. So it is very important to manage your risk. It is very important to also understand where the market is headed to, right? One trade should not break your account, right? So I hope you guys have learned something from this video. I will also be preparing a bootcamp which will be free for you guys here on YouTube. This will be a bootcamp series, so if you guys are interested in something like that, this is when I'll be basically breaking down my strategy, right? This is basically my VIP strategy that I'll be giving to you guys for free, right? So if you guys are interested in that bootcamp, do leave a comment in the comment section, and if the demand is good and the numbers are good, I will definitely start uploading that bootcamp for you guys, where I start explaining each and every element of my strategy step by step. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As I said, it is free after all. You don't have to pay anything. Be sure to join our free Telegram channel. Find the link in the description below for free signals, free setups, and free educational content. Cheers.